We now have the next set of leaks from The Last of Us Part 2. This is coming from Reddit. There's nothing confirmed. There's no evidence. There's no files. There's nothing. We just have pretty much one or two Reddit posters. One of them is named Regular Tester from 4 days ago, and the other one is named Alex XH2 from yesterday. So he said he got his information from another Reddit user called Daniel Hammond 147. So this could all just be one big made-up story. But we're going to go through at least this part. It's a little easier to read. And again, I'm using my unbiased, objective view. I don't know any of these characters. I don't know their backstory. I don't know all the context that they are doing what they're doing. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. So, the game begins with you playing as Joel. Okay. During the patrol mission, Tommy and Joel kill a group of fireflies, and Tommy begins to wonder why they're after him. Joel reveals to Tommy what happened the day he saved Ellie, and this new revelation is what put Joel and his brother at odds once again. I'm assuming that has something to do with the ending of the first game. Tommy leaves the room, and a flashback sequence begins with Joel teaching Ellie how to play the guitar. If you look closely at the guitar, you can see a small butterfly that resembles the butterfly tattoo on Ellie's arm. Now, if you know how symbolism works in stories, you want that to symbolize or connect with the plight of the protagonist or the characters in the story. And the butterfly can represent many things, but it's best to have it connect with the conflict of the characters and what they're going through. So if Ellie is like a butterfly, that's her symbol. You want to connect that with as much behavior of Ellie and as much internal feelings and thoughts she wants to express. So connecting the butterfly on the guitar with the butterfly on Ellie's arm is a good way of showing relationship. I just don't know the context of what that relationship is. Is she resting and finally finding her home through Joel, through the guitar, through music? Is she hovering and flittering about like a butterfly to finding a new home? Does she belong somewhere? That sort of thing. So there's many ways we can interpret this, but without proper context, I don't know what the butterfly means. Everyone at Jackson doesn't know Ellie is immune. Her bite marks were covered by an acid treatment and covered with a butterfly tattoo. Okay, so the tattoo could represent hiding her uniqueness. So she needs Joel, she needs music, she needs some aspect of humanity to be herself. And without the butterfly, she is no longer hidden in plain sight. She is the thing that everyone's looking for because of this strange virus that's going around. Years have passed, and there's still no sign of a cure. This puts a strain on Ellie and Joel's relationship. So here we have this sort of static world that even though time has passed, Ellie has not revealed herself. Ellie has been this butterfly just flittering about, not showing off to the world that, hey, I can help you people. I have antibodies or I have natural immunity. Go ahead and experiment on me or whatever. That's kind of, I assume, was the ending of the first game that was such a big deal. You will spend the next 3 hours building your relationship with Dina. You will go on patrol missions, clearing out clickers, until Jesse tells Ellie that Tommy has been kidnapped. Okay, so Tommy, I believe, is Joel's brother. You start off the mission alone, but you're joined by Joel an hour later. Do you remember in the 2019 trailer reveal when Joel says, "Do you think you were going to do this on your own?" That's it. Okay. Joel and Ellie are separated until she finds Joel being beaten by Abby and her men. So that's when Joel dies. Tommy and Ellie go back to Jordan with Joel's body and then bury him in the Jackson Cemetery. Okay. So here we have a villain in Abby taking away Ellie's father figure, her sense of humanity, whatever the connection between the guitar and her is gone now because Joel was the one teaching her how to play guitar. So that is okay symbolism. I don't know the connection. I don't know the relationship exactly, but we have a villain in Abby. Okay. Tommy and Ellie go back to Jordan with Joel's body and then bury him in the Jackson Cemetery. We saw a picture of that in the leaks. Ellie wants revenge, and this is where the cycle of violence begins. So if violence is a cycle, that's going to be a prevalent theme. And this is within the first 5-10 hours of the game, essentially. So they're setting up the theme right there, if that is in fact the theme. Ellie will go to Seattle alone to find Abby with Jesse, and Ellie joining her along the way. I'm not sure what that means. Ellie will go to Seattle alone to find Jesse. Wait. Ellie will go to Seattle alone to find Abby with Jesse, and Ellie joining her along the way. What? Okay. He's one of the men who grabs Ellie in the 2019 trailer. The other one is WLF member during a fight. Okay. So this is where I give the real plot leak. All right, fine. What the other leakers do not disclose are the importance of the Seraphites because they did not play the game. I believe the Seraphites are the religious group that both Ellie and Abby are after. They're the third-party opposing force. Fine. Ellie must cross Seraphite territory, and they will stake her as a member of the WLF or the Wolves, which sounds like another group that is doing something else. We don't know. They're just another group. Ellie will be captured and escape by killing one of the leaders of the religious group. Okay, so now the reasons for going after the group are one-sided. Now the group has reasons to go after Ellie, or to make an enemy out of Ellie, because she killed one of their leaders. You attempt to rescue Jesse, but he dies shortly after. Okay, so Jesse is gone. Gotcha. Ellie and Dina will continue their journey to find Abby. So this is just to find Abby. These Seraphites are just in the way. So right now, Ellie is on a journey or a story of revenge. It's a revenge plot. And she has every reason to go after Abby because Abby killed her father figure. Many Wolf members or WLF members are killed by Ellie, including Abby's boyfriend. So it looks like Abby is part of the Wolves. So we have three groups. We have Ellie and her team. We have the Seraphites, and then we have the Wolves, which Abby is a part of. Ellie will have flashback scenes with Joel. This will take an emotional toll on Ellie and those playing the game. So that's kind of a neat way of bringing back explanation why Ellie is so motivated to go after Abby. She has flashbacks of this father figure she cared for, who kept her alive, who taught her how to survive. So that's a good way it's a quick way as well to show value in what she's trying to do, what she's trying to achieve, why she's seeking revenge. So the Wolf members will find Ellie and Dina, and you will take everyone out before your fight with Abby. So pretty much you're a one-woman machine, and you're just killing Wolf members before you get to Abby. I guess Abby's the main boss. You will switch to Abby right before she fights Ellie. Now this doesn't make any sense. This does not make any sense. So you're playing as Ellie going on revenge. You want to stop Abby. Fine. And then instead of having a cutscene where Abby just overpowers you or defeats Ellie, you literally play as the bad guy. Now, why would you want to do that? There has to be sufficient reason. And according to this rundown of events, which I don't really call this a plot leak. This is just sort of a sequence of events. That's not plot to me. Plot means the goal and motivation of the protagonist or the goal and motivation of another character. So to just arbitrarily switch to Abby doesn't make sense. Think of any game where you're pursuing a villain, like Final Fantasy VII. You're pursuing Sephiroth. All of a sudden, you play as Sephiroth, and you start slaughtering the heroes of the story. It's a tonal shift. It's a focus. The narrative focus is switched, and I've never seen it done in that style, unless the antagonist becomes a anti-hero or becomes a protagonist themselves. So we're obviously losing some context between these scenes. And without that context, all we've got is this is a horrible story. And all the author here, Mr. Regular Tester had to do was just explain why. Or give us some context. So Abby, you switch to Abby right before she fights Ellie, which I imagine you have to then win the fight, because if you lose the fight, that's game over, as every game does. You will only play as her for about 4 of the 6 remaining hours of the game. Her chapters are much shorter than Ellie's. Okay, so that's like 20 to 40%, but probably 20% of the game right there. Her story begins with a flashback of her father. So this is, okay, so she fights Ellie and then we go into flashbacks, or we switch to Abby and then we go into flashbacks. I don't get it. There has to be more context here. Her story begins with a flashback with her father and quickly cuts to her killing Joel with a golf club. Okay, so we go back to the death of Joel. It's from her point of view that the next 3 days will take place at the exact same time as Ellie's. Okay, so we're doing a flashback and we're just using it from Abby's perspective as she went about her day. Other leakers say that you will spend half of the game hunting Ellie. This is not true. If Abby wanted to kill Ellie, she would have done it right after she killed Joel. Abby makes it back to her base to spend time with her boyfriend. Abby runs off to save kids. Okay, so all we know is that Abby has a group called the Wolves she's a part of. She has a boyfriend who sounds as if Ellie killed. And then Abby runs off to save kids. So they're making Abby's plight, they're making Abby seem more human. They're making her seem like more of a normal person who just wanted to kill Joel because Joel killed her parent figure or her parent, which is good. As I said, there's two things the story needs to do: demonize Joel and justify Abby. And so far, we're not getting the demonization of Joel. We're just getting Abby dislikes Joel because he killed her dad or her parent. So that's not enough. You need both. And you really have to sell them, or else we're not going to like, especially not going to like having to control Abby. A large part of her story will be her fighting the Seraphites. So yeah, so she's part of the Wolves. The Wolves are against the Seraphites. And that makes perfect sense. Fine. The Seraphites are about to hang her until she's saved by Lev. Take a look at the 2017 PGW trailer. Okay. I think Lev's the kid with the bow and arrow. You'll have to find medicine to amputate Yara's arm. Sure. Abby will find out about her boyfriend's death. This is where she will go look for... This is when she will go look for Abby. I think she mean this poster meant this is when she will go look for Ellie. Because she discovers that her boyfriend was killed by Ellie. Obviously, this is a misspelling. Abby finds Ellie in the theater and beats Dina and Ellie nearly to death. You play as Abby because Ellie must lose the fight. I thought we were already playing as Abby. I'm getting a bit confused here. So is this the previous fight? I don't get it. You will switch to Abby and then, like, is this, we switch to Abby and then boom, flashback, let's build up this character, and then all of a sudden we get back up to normal time. So that implies we were switching to someone else. That doesn't make too much sense there. So Ellie and Dina leave and try to live on the farm to raise Dina's baby. So this is the scene where Abby is pretty much killing everyone. And she lets Dina live because Lev, I think, shoots her in the back or something. So Lev calms her down from the video. So then time passes. Dina does not lose the baby. She has the baby. So we're assuming at least a year has passed. Ellie is having a hard time dealing with Joel's death, and Dina with Joel's jacket to hunt down Abby. Oh, okay, so she takes Joel's jacket? Again, this is very poor grammar, so I don't know exactly what this person's saying. But it looks like Ellie is like, yep, time for another bout of revenge. Because she failed the first time. Abby and Lev are in Santa Barbara looking for the remaining fireflies, but Ellie hunts her down and kills her unexpectedly. Okay, so this is a bit hard. This is where we're going to switch to the other leaker, who's a bit more detailed here. Okay, so we then cut back to Abby as she and Lev are searching for fireflies in the neighborhood. Abby begins searching house to house in the neighborhood for signs of fireflies. As she opens the closet in the rooms, Ellie jumps out and on top of her and begins repeatedly stabbing her in the neck with a knife that would kill someone. So then control switches to Ellie, and the player must mash square to knife Abby in the throat repeatedly. Okay. See, all this switching is not good for the narrative, especially when you're switching to an antagonist, which you're not sure you actually want to be. And it's a very bad thing to do in a narrative where the focus is a singular character. So if you started off as Abby rather, and you never switched, they'd be like, oh, this is a story about Abby. Kind of like the way that in Metal Gear Solid 2, we were led to believe we were going to play as Snake. We ended up playing as another guy, Jack, but Jack was also a protagonist. He wasn't a bad guy. So that was like, oh, thanks, Hideo Kojima. I'm playing as this svelte, muscular, blonde guy, but he's on the protagonist side. He's on the side of going against the villain. In this case, you play as the villain who killed Snake. Imagine if Jack killed Snake, Solid Snake. That would like piss everyone off for obvious reasons. So this jump in narrative or jump in narrative focus, it works in a story, in a book, because you're changing perspectives. That's fine. But not in a game where interactivity is the point. You're supposed to play as a character. So if you're not getting behind the motivation of Abby, you're not going to like wanting to kill people and do things as Abby, especially when you're trying to stop the previous protagonist, which everyone cares for, which is Ellie. So Lev bursts in, threatens to kill Ellie before giving up and asking her to just go. The game ends with Ellie standing outside the porch, covered in blood, soaking in the sun, and realizing her vengeance didn't make her happy, only empty. So you control Ellie. We're back at the original post. You control Ellie mostly through the final part of the game. Lev's life is spared after making a promise to Yara. The epilogue ends with Ellie finding the remaining members of the Fireflies. A familiar face from the Fireflies return. This will make you question everything. The game ends with the Seraphite killing Dina. This is the cycle of violence that never ends. Okay, so very different mentions of people dying and who has control over whom. They don't perfectly line up. They sound somewhat similar. So it's kind of a rehash. And this was from when? From yesterday. And this was from 4 days ago. So obviously some people are telling different stories, slightly different details. Maybe they forgot them. Maybe they didn't get them all down. We're talking about a big game, of course. So there's lots of character and interactions and people dying and people attacking people. The problem is not so much the plot or plots they're in. It's all about revenge. And I believe if the cycle of revenge is to be believed, then it's a pretty consistent theme. People are killing people a lot. It's that you're controlling characters you may not want to control, especially villains. And Abby is just seen as another villain, even though they share the common enemy of the Seraphites. So that just gives an argument, or so that just gives an excuse for Ellie and Abby to meet, and Ellie and Abby to meet. They have a common enemy, and then they both are their own enemy to each other. So narratively, it makes sense. Gameplay-wise, it is probably going to turn people off. They're not going to like the narrative control. They're not going to like controlling Abby. It's just as simple as that. Unless we're told and shown that Abby's actions are justified and Joel is demonized, which is very hard to do, this is not going to fly. People are going to dislike this. And it doesn't matter what flavor or what version of the leak. Like, again, we were looking at two different leaks here, or two different interpretations of a leak. It doesn't matter, because either way, no one's going to like playing as Abby for obvious reasons. And this does not clarify why it is. So sadly, I think a lot of people who enjoyed the first game are not going to like this one. They're obviously going to have a dramatic experience. There's going to be lots of plot. The characters seem like they're going to be developed well, but the narrative has to give us reasons to make us believe in Abby and make us dislike Joel, and it's not there, at least from this rundown. I'm sure there's a lot more context playing the full game, and you'll feel for Abby when she loses her dad or her parent figure, and she loses Jesse or whoever her lover is, and all the normal things that make her human and make her want to go on revenge. because again, these are the same plots between Abby and Ellie. They want to kill each other because of what they've done to their families and what they've done to their friends. It just doesn't work when you're controlling both. It's like fighting two wars, or sorry, it's like fighting the same war, but you're controlling both sides. It doesn't make sense. Why are you fighting? If you feel drama, or if you feel compassion, or you identify with both characters, and you realize that you're both fighting you're both fighting each other, trying to kill each other, the logical conclusion is, why are we fighting? I don't want to kill you, and I don't want to kill you, and as the other person, I don't want to kill you. So that's very conflicting. Now, maybe this is just like a more of a meta experience. Maybe as a result of the player going through this gauntlet of, I don't want to kill you, I don't want to kill you, they realize the theme a lot stronger. That is an interesting element. I did not consider that, because you're talking about games. You're not talking about a book. You're talking about specifically a game where you're controlling both opposing sides, and they both want to kill each other, and one finally does. And then Ellie makes the realization, oh, this does not make me happy. Most people who are adults who go through these concepts of getting back at someone don't see it as happiness. They see it as a form of justice, or a form of morals, personal ethics that they have to achieve. So hard to say, but it's an interesting idea, and I'd like to see it played out. I'm not going to play it because I don't really care. I'm just interested in the aspect of the game doing this narratively. I just don't think people are going to like it, unfortunately. Anyway, that was my plot analysis. Thank you for listening. Have yourself a great day.